We are in the first quarter of our set of lessons, and I hope everybody will delight in learning today with lesson number 9. Explore innovative techniques in writing poetry. The objective of today's lesson is to identify the different innovative techniques in writing poetry. But before we start our lesson, let's have a pre-test. Identify what innovative techniques in writing poetry is being described in the following poems. Write FL if it is a figurative language or RS if it is a rhyme scheme. Are you ready? Number 1. An emerald is as green as grass. A ruby red as blood. A sapphire shines as blue as heaven. A flint lies in the mud. Number 2. Any hound a porcupine nudges can't be blamed from harboring grudges. I know one hound that laughed all winter at a porcupine that sat on a splinter. Number 3. Here in your arms is where I belong. The beating of your heart is like a beautiful song. Number 4. Freedom is like a dog without a leash to hold it back from it running through grass. Number 5. The teapot sang as the water boiled. The ice cubes cackled in their glass. The teacups chattered to one another. If you're finished answering this activity, it is now time to check your answers. Are you ready? If your answer to number 1 is FL, you are correct because the poem has figurative language, which is simile. But if your answer is RS, you are also correct. Words blood and mud are rhyming words. Number 2. If your answer to number 2 is RS, you are right. The poem has a rhyme scheme. Number 3. If your answer in number 3 is FL, you are correct because the poem has figurative language, which is simile. But if your answer is RS, you are also correct. Words belong and song are rhyming words. Number 4. If your answer in number 4 is FL, you are correct because the line freedom is like a dog is an example of figurative language, which is simile. And number 5, if your answer is FL, you are correct. The poem is an example of figurative language, which is personification. Did you get all the right answers? Great! Now let's proceed with our recap. We have learned that elements of poetry are form of writing that use not only words but also form, patterns of sound, imagery, and figurative language to convey the message of the poet. Any poem will include some or all of these elements. Innovative techniques in writing poetry. The techniques of writing poetry differ from person to person. Long or short meters, 3 or 4 lines to a stanza. But the great thing is, no matter how a poem is written, it still holds great emotion. It is worthwhile then to pay attention to the innovative techniques in writing poetry. These are what poets use to bring their words to life. Some of these are figurative language and rhyme scheme. Figurative language is any figure of speech which depends on a non-literal meaning of some or all of the words used. Some examples are simile, metaphor, personification, and many more. Simile is an example of figurative language. It is an expression that compares one thing to another. It generally has the words like or as. Example is the words as busy as bees, which means to be moving about quickly, doing many things. An example of that simile used in a sentence is, the construction workers are busy as bees. It means that the construction workers are moving quickly, doing many things. Other examples of similes are as light as feather, as cold as ice, as sweet as sugar, and a lot more. For guided practice, let's do this. Make a thumbs up if you think that the sentence uses figurative language. Do the thumbs down if the sentence does not use figurative language. The Game of Life by Diana Lassie. Life is a board game, rolling the dice when we take a chance on what to do. Should I become a doctor? A lawyer? A mailman? If you did the thumbs up, you are correct. Speaker of the poem used figurative language, which is a metaphor which directly compares life to a board game. This means that life is a setting with some rules. Now let's try a more difficult one. Sadness by Megan McGinnis. A cold tear ran down my face, a life slipped away. The cold day dawned on, as a kind life slipped was gone, never to be heard again. If your answer is thumbs up, you are right. It is a figurative language. Cold tear ran down, life slipped away, and cold day dawned are personification which give human characteristics to something non-human. Now let's talk about another innovative technique in writing poetry, which is a rhyme scheme. A rhyme scheme is a pattern of rhymes at the end of each line of a poem. It is usually referred to by using letters to indicate which lines rhyme. Lines designated with the same letter all rhyme with each other. Example of a rhyme scheme pattern is ABAB. The coolness of the night refreshed my skin. Stars shine so bright, causing me to grin. The word night on the first line rhymes with bright on the third line. The word skin on the second line rhymes with grin on the fourth line. So, night and bright are letters A. Then words skin and grin are letters B that made the rhyme scheme ABAB. Remember that there can be more different rhyme scheme depending to what the poet's style is in writing. Now let's try to identify the rhyming pattern of the poem and tell what rhyme scheme is used in the whole stanza. The title is Tribute to Mother by Crystal Adam. The one who brought me down to earth and held me every day. The one who gracefully gave me birth and said, I love you in every way. The poem has A-B-B-A rhyme scheme. Or rather, it is A-B-A-B rhyme scheme. The words earth and birth on the first and third line are both labeled A because they rhyme with one another. The words day and way are both labeled B, as they have the same rhyming sound. So the correct rhyme scheme in this poem is ABAB. Now let's try a difficult one. Identify the rhyming words and give the rhyme scheme of the stanza of the given poem. When I consider how my light is spent, by John Milton. When I consider how my light is spent, ere half my days in this dark world and white, and that not one talent which is that to hide, lodged with me useless, though my soul more bent. The poem has A-B-B-A rhyme scheme, spent on the first line and bent on the fourth line, rhyme with the one another. They are letters A in the rhyme scheme, while the words wide and hide on the second and third line are rhyming words, so they are letters B in the rhyme scheme. Now for more activities, let's try this. Identify what innovative techniques in writing poetry is being described in the following poems. Write FL if it is figurative language, or RS if it is rhyme scheme. Number 1. The night is a big black cat. The moon is her topaz eye. The stars are the mice she hunts at night in the field of the sultry sky. Number 2. Upon a nice mid-spring day, let's take a look at nature's way. Breathe the scent of a nice fresh air. Feel the breeze within your hair. Number 3. The fallen leaves are cornflakes that fill the lawn's wide dish, and night and moon the wind's a spoon that steers them with a swish. Number 4. A mighty creature is a germ, though smaller than the pachyderm. His customary dwelling place is deep within the human race. And number 5. I wonder, do you feel today, as I have felt since hand in hand we sat down in the grass to stray, and spirit better through the land, this morn of Rome and May. Now let's check your answers. If your answer to number 1 is FL, you are correct, because the poem has figurative language, which is personification. But if your answer is RS, you are also correct. The words I and sky are rhyming words. Number 2. If your answer is RS, you're right. The poem has AABB rhyme scheme. Number 3. If your answer to number 3 is FL, you are correct, because the poem has figurative language, which is metaphor. But if your answer is RS, you are also correct. The poem has ABCCD rhyme scheme. Number 4. If your answer is FL, you are correct, because the poem has figurative language, which is personification. But if your answer is RS, you are also correct. It has an AABB rhyme scheme. And number 5, if your answer is RS, you are right. It has an ABABA rhyme scheme. I hope today. Worksheet number 9, Creative Writing, first quarter. Goodbye and see you in the next lesson.